glad you're here. Thank you very much for joining me, and welcome to all the new subscribers. For those that are subscribed, please check to make sure you're still subscribed. According to analytics, 132 people were unsubscribed this month. I hope you're not one of them. So if you want to keep up to date with all my recent news articles, please subscribe. You ever wonder why we lose sleep, and including what health effects it may have on our bodies? How many of you have heard about the Sunshine Protection Act? It's a bipartisan U.S. federal bill aimed at making daylight savings time, DST, permanent across the country, eliminating the twice yearly ritual of springing forward and falling back that disrupts sleep patterns, energy use, and daily life. It has been introduced multiple times in Congress and reflects ongoing debates about whether permanent DST or standard time better serves public health, safety, commerce, and the environment. The bill name nods to the idea of extending sunshine hours into evening year-round, prompting outdoor activities and economic benefits. The concept builds on the Uniform Time Act of 1966, which established the daylight savings time nationwide, but allowed states to opt out. Public frustration with clock changes has fueled reform efforts for decades. First introduced in 2018 by Senator Marco Rubio from Florida and co-sponsored by Senator Bill Nelson, also of Florida. It passed the Senate unanimously in March of 2019, but was stalled in the House. Again, in 2021, it was put before Congress, and it passed the Senate unanimously on August 11, 2021, but didn't advance to the House Energy and Commerce Committee amid competing priorities like COVID recovery. And then in 2022 and 2023, it was reintroduced to the 18th Congress, and it gained traction with hearings but faced opposition from health experts favoring permanent standard time. As of November of this year, the bill remains active in the 119th Congress. It was introduced earlier this year with renewed pushes from sponsors. No final passage yet, but momentum persists due to public polls showing 60 to 70% of the people support ending daylight savings time. If it is enacted, implementation would start in 2026 or later and would require a presidential signature and state compliance. If it does pass, it would prohibit states from observing daylight savings time starting in November of next year or the year after the enactment. All states except Hawaii and most of Arizona, which already skips daylight savings time, would adopt daylight savings time year-round. But it does allow exceptions. It allows states to opt out for permanent standard time via state law. And there is actually no impact on energy. Contrary to myths, studies have shown daylight saving time, minimal energy nationally, and that's a study by the U.S. Department of Energy, shows that there would be a very slight increase in evening peak demand, maybe 0.03% nationally. Those that are for getting rid of daylight savings time say that it would be more convenient, reduce disruptions for things like the stock market and travel, and economic perks like extended shopping hours. And when you got 65 to 70% of Americans that are all for it, I think we should do this. And there is health effects by turning the clocks ahead every year by 1 hour. Evidently, studies have been done and shows it increased heart attacks by 14% and more accidents. Opponents say that permanent standard time as more natural. Daylight savings time, the practice of advancing the clocks by 1 hour during warmer months to extend evening daylight, has its roots in energy conservation, wartime efficiency, and economic interest. Contrary to popular myths, it wasn't invented by Benjamin Franklin or pushed by farmers who often opposed it to It disrupts their schedules with animals and markets. Instead, the modern concept emerged in the early 20th century amid rising electrical use and global conflicts. The world's first inaugural daylight savings time was local and experimental. In Port Arthur, Ontario, Canada, now called Thunder Bay, on July 1st of 1908, where residents advocated clocks for the summer. The first country to adopt daylight savings time was Germany. They rolled it out on April 30th, 1916 during World War I, with Austria and Hungary joining on the same day. It was rapidly adopted by other European countries on May 21st, 1916, when France, Italy, and others soon followed. Here in the United States, Congress passed the Calendar Act on March 19th, 1918. They established daylight savings time from March 31st to October 25th as a wartime measure. But many of you probably don't know it was repealed in 1919 due to being unpopular, but was revised in World War II, which was 1942, and then standardized federally via what was called the Uniform Time Act of 1966. The primary driver was fuel and energy conservation during World War I. By shifting clocks forward, governments aimed to reduce evening use of artificial light, which was coal-powered at the time, saving resources for the war effort. Germany estimated $23.8 million in saving, about $685 million today. Then there was the economic boost. Evening daylight encouraged post-war shopping, sports, and recreation. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce lobbied heavily in 1918, noting benefits for retail. One example was golf ball sales. They soared, and the leisure industry, like baseball, also soared. Other people argued that it would promote outdoor activity, cut traffic accidents, align work with natural light, though modern studies showed mixed results with minimal energy savings. But there is a drawback, such as sleep disruptions, and more heart attacks and things like that, messing up our internal clocks. After World War I, many countries dropped the daylight savings time, but returned to it in World War II. And then in the 1970s, after the oil crisis, the U.S. did a trial for daylight savings time in 1974, but then again repealed it of complaints about dark winter mornings. Today, daylight savings time is observed in over 70 countries, but debates rage on, and the polls show in favor of ending the clock changes, echoing the Sunshine Protection Act push for a permanent daylight savings time. Moving the clocks back, I like the fact that it wasn't as dark for as long when I got up in the morning to walk the dogs. And I'm sure a lot of other people probably liked it for their own reasons. What would your reason be that you like it when we turn the clocks back an hour? Maybe not as dark when you drive to work or the kids going to school? Put your thoughts and comments down below. Thank you very much for joining me. Please like, please share. Make sure you're still subscribed. Like I said, 139 people AI unsubscribed so far this month. It goes up and down. And I want to thank all of the new followers. Please stay safe, and I'll talk to you later. God bless you all. Bye.